What's up guys, Luke Deutschiner here with another video. If you guys like my videos, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and drop a comment down below. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about how you can basically live for free if you own a house. Doesn't typically apply to people who rent apartments. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about the pros and cons versus renting and versus owning. Now, this is kind of an interesting topic due to the fact that a person that I actually personally look up to, Grant Cardone, has a couple videos where he actually says that you're better off renting versus owning, which is kind of contradictory due to the fact that Grant Cardone obviously is a big real estate guru and also has made a lot of money off of real estate, not just being a guru, but he owns, I think, close to $1 billion worth of apartment complexes all around the U.S. So it was kind of odd to me as to why he would say that you should not own, but you should rent. Maybe he just wants you to rent one of his apartments. I don't really know. Grant Cardone, if you see this for some reason, I'd really love to hear a detailed comment from you. Maybe Grant Cardone was personally talking about a personal house. Maybe you shouldn't buy a personal house, but even then, it really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So that being said, I'm going to give my pros and cons, my own personal experience, and then I also have an uncle that is a multimillionaire in real estate also. So his perspective is always to own too, other than the fact that if he wants you to rent his apartment, he's going to tell you to rent from him. So not really sure where Grant Cardone is coming from that, but let's jump into today's video. So first off, home ownership is not for everybody. Not that it's not a good thing, but the fact that not everybody can qualify to get a mortgage at a bank. Or, maybe they just don't have the capital to save up and buy a house. Now, one thing that you don't want to do if you're going to be buying a house or renting a house, you do not want to buy a fixer-upper if you have no money to fix it up. That is a good way to get involved in a money pit, and you will end up losing the house, and owning a house will then be probably your greatest loss rather than your greatest investment. Due to the fact that if you buy a fixer-upper and you don't have any money to fix it up, you're going to be spending all your monies on repairs, and then you're not going to be able to make your payments, and then you're going to lose it, and it's probably going to ruin home ownership for you. That is not ideally what you want to happen, obviously. Now, let's just basically even the playing field. Let's say we're not talking fixer-uppers or any other variables. Let's just talk about a home versus an apartment. So you'll see here on the screen, off to the left, there's monthly rent of $1,025. And I would say that's pretty much accurate for my area. I'm not sure where you live. I know areas like California are quite a bit more expensive depending on the apartment and house size, but kind of an average over the United States, monthly rent is around $1,000, not give or take areas like Miami or California that are basically really inflated. Now, the average monthly mortgage payment on the right is $899. Now, for a monthly rent of $1,025, you're probably going to get a 3-bedroom apartment, such as like a townhome. So the advantages of renting, obviously, well, you don't have to do any of the maintenance. That's one big thing. However, the big negative of renting, and I'm sure everybody out there knows this, is that you're literally not building any equity at all, which is why I don't get why people think that renting is a better idea. It's really truthfully not if you can afford or have the credit or the down payment to get a mortgage. Not to mention there are programs such as FHA in the United States where you only need to put like 3% down, and at that point, obtaining a home is much more, feasible than it's ever been before. It wasn't always like this. So FHA loans make it very easy to get into homes. There's also first home buyer programs, etc. I mean, it's stuff for you guys to look into if you are looking to, buy a home and are debating renting or owning. That being said, going over to renting, at $1,025 a month, the average, rent you're going to spend each year is around $12,000. So it's basically $12,000 going out the window. You'll never see that back. The only benefit I see to renting as far as actually getting money back or getting a return on your money is, I'm not sure if this is every state, but here in Wisconsin, you will get like a renter's credit back on your tax returns, and you'll get a measly $500 to $600 back after you spent $12,000 on your apartment this year. Not to mention, monthly rent, it is nice, the fact that, you don't have to do any repairs, but $1,025 a month doesn't include typically any utilities or anything like that. Not to mention, it leaves you susceptible to getting stuck in leases if you can't afford it and, ruining your credit. And then also, typically most apartments don't allow pets or anything like that. You can't smoke. I'm personally not a smoker, but some people are out there that do smoke, and most apartments are absolutely no smoking. So you kind of lose your freedom when you rent too. And it's also typically more expensive. Now, the other cringy thing about renting is the fact that you typically have to get a landlord's approval to have any roommates, etc., or anything like that. Whereas if you have a home, you can pretty much do whatever you want because it's your home. You're free. It's your home. You can do what you want. But let's go over to the homeowner side and let's kind of compare why I think owning a home is much better. You're just going to be in a much better position all around. So first off, a monthly mortgage is $899. Now this is kind of like an average sum, but you can easily here in the Midwest get a 3-bedroom or even a 4-bedroom house for a monthly mortgage of around $899 a month. Now, I'm not going to say if that's going to include taxes, etc., because taxes, per month and insurance are a little bit different everywhere. But for the base mortgage payment, you can easily get a 3 to 4 bedroom here in the Midwest for around $900 a month, 3 or 4 bedroom. Now, the big picture here is when you're renting, typically apartments are structured in a way where renting out an extra room is going to be kind of awkward. Unless it's somebody you know, but even then, if you're renting out a room in an apartment, you're not going to get as much as you would for a room in a house due to the fact that most apartments are all one level. And when you buy a house here in the Midwest, typically a 3 or 4 bedroom house in the Midwest will also have a finished basement or an unfinished basement. Now, I know in some sunny areas, there are not basements. There's houses that don't have basements, etc. But here in the Midwest, we got basements, and it's good to use them. Personally, in my house right now, in my basement, I've added an extra bedroom since I bought this house, and I've also added an extra bathroom. So that literally is not only increasing the value of my property, but I can now rent that out and retain residual income from that, and my mortgage payment will not go up anymore. That's the other thing, going back to the renter side, is if you've ever rented an apartment and you've noticed a 1 or 2 year, or let's say after your lease is ready to renew, typically landlords raise the rent around $30 to $50 per year on every unit they own due to the fact that taxes go up every year and, costs to maintain buildings go up every year. So literally, every time you're renting somewhere, your rent is usually going up each year, and you're not gaining anything more from it. You're not getting a bigger house. You're not getting an extra bathroom or a bedroom. I mean, your house, you can do all that stuff. Where if you have an apartment, you can't do any of that. And you have the same amount of square footage, but you're getting charged more and more each year, which is why you lose out. You become, basically the majority of people out there that are stuck renting, and they never get into home ownership. That's not what you want. So going back over to the homeowner side, like I said, so far as expense, monthly rent is higher than the average mortgage payment. On top of that, if you look off to the left, $12,000 average is what you're going to spend on rent, and you're completely throwing that away. Where if you look at the average mortgage, you're going to spend around $10,700 at the end of the year. I had to take a brief pause right there. I had a terrible cold that I've been kind of fighting for the past week. My voice is a little raspy. I'm sure you've noticed that in my videos. But jumping back into it, so $12,000 versus $10,000 is what you're going to spend basically over the course of a year. Now, the biggest picture here is the fact that on the left side, the renter's side, you're going to have $0 at the end of the year. All of that money is gone. Where on the mortgage side, the net worth increase due to housing per year, you're probably going to increase around $8,600 per year, depending on how much your house is worth. The average house actually accumulates net worth or worth around 3 to 8% per year if the housing market is decent and stable, which has been stable for quite a while now. I know actually right now, it's mostly a seller's market. So people who are homeowners, they're doing really well. Properties are appreciating very good. And, everybody's happy that's a homeowner, that is. People who are buying, they're not necessarily getting a steal on a house anymore because prices are way up. So that's the other big picture, is that renters really don't get anything at the end of the year besides that small rent certificate on their taxes, which is around $500 to $600. And somebody who owns a home is, increasing their value of their home around 3 to 8% each year. Now, I know somebody's going to drop a comment down below and say, well, if you're a homeowner, you have expenses. So here's where I've basically virtually almost lived for free every time I've owned a home. Here's what you do. So yes, there is going to be some expenses owning a home. You might have a furnace go out. That's going to be around $1,500 to $2,500. Or, you might have a leaky roof. Maybe you've got to have it patched, and it's $300 to $500. The best thing you can do when you go buy a home is do a home inspection if you're not a handyman yourself, and just make sure that there really isn't going to be any problems with the home. Buy a home with a newer roof. Buy a home with a newer furnace or a newer air conditioner. All kind of small problems that can happen, but if you do a really good job kind of checking the home out before you buy it, typically you won't have any of these problems. I personally have not had any major problems with some of the properties that I own. The only one that I had major problems with, and I knew I was going to have major problems with, was a home that I bought. I bought it very inexpensively, and it was basically a rehab. I knew that I was going to have money into it, but I got it for the right price, so it really didn't matter in the end. But here is how you virtually live for free if you have a home. So here in the Midwest, a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom home will typically have an upstairs area which will have a kitchen, a bathroom, and 2 or 3 bedrooms. Now, my mortgage on the one home that I own was only $375 a month. Now, this is the one that I got inexpensively, and I also did have to remodel it and everything, so I do have money into that. But here's the thing. The house was a full 3-bedroom house with an office. And so at $375 a month, all I did is put up one of my rooms for rent on Craigslist for $450 a month, all utilities included, and boom, my mortgage payment is now paid. You can't do that with an apartment. You can try, but it's not going to work out as good with an apartment due to the fact that most apartments are all on one floor. There is no basement. Like in the house that I'm in now, there is a full upstairs and there's a full basement with 2 bedrooms downstairs and its own separate bathroom. And I'm actually planning on in the future putting in a kitchenette downstairs, which means that I can put a door in between the upstairs and downstairs, and the people who live downstairs, I will no longer have to see them. I won't hear them. They won't see me. Not that I don't mind seeing people or anything, but obviously when you live in your house, you want to have your own space. But the point is, with a home, there are multiple things that you can do if you are creative, if you are an entrepreneur and you can see the vision, see the future, that you can do to basically live scotch-free, live rent-free, no mortgage, no rent. If you've got an apartment, yeah, you might be able to rent out one of your bedrooms for $250 a month to a college student or something like that, but you guys are going to see each other almost every day. So you kind of got to pick somebody that you're going to be really happy living with due to the fact that most apartments don't have full basements. And if they do have a basement, good luck getting an approval from a landlord asking them, hey, can I add an extra bedroom and a bathroom in your apartment so that way I can rent it out and I don't have to pay you rent technically? It's never going to happen. So that being said, that's why owning a home gives you so much more freedom than renting an apartment. So if you look at kind of everything I talked about in this video, you got rent on the renter side, you got actual equity building on the mortgage side. You got $12,000 at the end of the year on the renting side that you're never going to get back. And on the ownership side, you got $10,000 that basically you're not really paying any rent or mortgage payment due to the fact that the house is increasing anyway, so you're getting that money back if you ever sell it. But if you really get creative with the home ownership, you can actually get a renter or even 2 renters in your home that basically will make your mortgage payment for you, and you'll never be paying a mortgage at all or rent. And then here's the other thing. If you ever move from the house and you have the financial means to do so, there's no reason to sell the house because single-family homes are in high demand in the United States. You can always rent that house out and then move into another house if you're liking. Do the same thing over and over again. That's how you get bigger with real estate. Of course, buying multiplexes, etc. is a really great way also, and that's what you want to work up to. But think of it like this. If you move into a home and live in it for 2 years, and you have your basement rented out, or you have a couple rooms rented out in the house, and they've kind of got their own little area, if they make your mortgage payment the whole entire 2 years that you're there, imagine how much money you can save up, so that way you can move into another house, and while you move into another house, you can rent out your previous house completely, so all of the mortgage, taxes, etc. are paid for each month while you build equity in that house. And the new house, you can do the same thing. The only thing to be careful of is when you buy a new house, just make sure the layout makes sense as far as if you're going to rent it out to somebody and get your mortgage paid for. So for those of you that stuck around to the end of this video, thank you, and I hope that this really helps you out a lot and really opened your mind on whether you should rent or whether you should own. And if you really think about what I said about renting, it's 100% true. So is homeowning, and the reason why is because I've done both. I speak out of experience. I'm not just somebody who's rented an apartment my entire life, and I'm not just somebody who's always owned a house. I've done both. Home ownership gets you ahead, renting puts you behind, and it doesn't give you any opportunities as far as you can't really rent out a basement in an apartment. You just can't. If you get a house and your whole mortgage is paid for each month, you're going to be living pretty good, and you're going to have a lot of extra money, and you're going to be able to put that money in places that make you more money, like investing in an ATM business or investing in stocks, investing in cryptocurrency, or saving it and just investing in another property and then doing the same thing over and over again until your real estate business grows. So that being said, thanks for watching this video. I apologize again for me being sick. My voice is just not there. There's going to be a couple clips in the video that are going to be kind of choppy because I had to chop them together because I started coughing uncontrollably. With that being said, thanks for watching today's video. Hope it helps some of you out. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.